Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into GavsWeatherVids on your New Year's Day. Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you're having a lovely day. I hope you had a lovely night last night. Hope not feeling too fragile. Today I may have had one or two glasses last night, but I'm alright, you know, I'm still with it. So, anyway, I hope you had a lovely New Year's Eve. I hope you're having a lovely New Year's Day. And thank you so much for tuning in to GavsWeatherVids on this first day of 2024. So, as always, on New Year's Day, become a little bit of a tradition. We're going to do a New Year's Day roundup. So, we're going to be looking at things like sea surface temperature anomalies, solar activity, QBO, AO, NAO, etc., etc., etc. And it's all to come in the first half of the video, and then we'll do a regular 10 to 14 day combined and see what's happening with the weather over the next week or two. So I'll get on that for you in a second. Just say that first video today was our 6 AM UK weather forecast, and we've also got Terence Collins' January forecast, eagerly waited, I think, that one, coming up for you tonight, probably around 7 PM. So, you know, please check out that one and see what Terry is predicting for January 2024 a little bit later on. Right, okay, so just to say about the announcement at the end of yesterday's video, if everybody didn't see yesterday's New Year's Eve video, then we're going to be bringing back GavsWeatherVids.com in the, in the new year. Well, we're in the new year, so it's going to be like around March, April time. Well, I'm not going to have time to set it up before the end of winter, so in the spring we'll be bringing back GavsWeatherVids.com. It won't be coming back as an absolutely massive website. It'll be coming back more in a blog type format, but GavsWeatherVids.com will be rising again in 2024. So that's going to be exciting later on in the year, something to look forward to, particularly for the OGs who remember GavsWeatherVids.com from back in the day. Right, okay, now before I do anything else, we're going to say hello, Happy New Year to Lynn W, to my good friend Lynn, who gave a super thanks on yesterday's New Year's Eve video. So thank you so much, Lynn, for your super thanks. You really didn't need to do that, but thank you so much, Lynn. If anyone would like to give a super thanks to GavsWeatherVids, have their comment flagged up and get a shout out, you can find the thanks button here underneath the video player, or behind the three little dots there. Sometimes they hide it away, so it'll either be under here or behind the dots. But anyway, you can give us a super thanks, and you know, all revenue is greatly appreciated. It's helping to pay for the channel. So thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. You can also become a channel member and get exclusive content. There'll be a channel member live stream coming up this Friday, actually. And there will also, you can also donate through PayPal as well. So there are various ways that you can help to support the channel. Lynn is actually doing a fundraiser. I'm going to give us a little plug and a little shout out as well. Let's just turn the webcam off. Thank you so much, Lynn, for the super thanks. So I'm going to give a little plug to Lynn's fundraiser. So this is Lynn's Just Giving page here. Christmas giving with Just Giving. Lynn Wareham, we're raising £10,000 to help two very worthy charities supporting vulnerable young people with physical and mental health essentials. Now, they are raising money for the Sefton Community Pantry. The pantry works with local schools to support vulnerable people and families with such things as food parcels, hygiene packs, or winter coats for children. They also enable these families to have Christmas that would otherwise be impossible. So fantastic work that they are doing, of course. And also, the other half money will be split with Young Minds. So young people's mental health is something very close to Lynn's heart. I know from losing my mum, Lynn, Mrs. When I was 13, and from my many years working with young people in education, how important it is we equip children, teens and adolescents with the means to cope with life's adversities and challenges. So two fantastic charities there, and Lynn's actually over halfway to target. So currently the total is sitting at £6,258, and so they're trying to raise £10,000 for these two amazing charities. That's an unbelievable figure, you know, absolutely fantastic. And so you can donate there at Lynn Just Giving page. I should be sending Lynn a donation myself a little bit later on. And yeah, so the link to the Just Giving page for Lynn is in the description with the video. So if you'd like to give those two charities a donation this new year, that would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And well done, Lynn, for your charitable endeavours. This is something that Lynn does every year, actually, around this time of year, around Christmas, New Year. Lynn does this fundraiser every year, and that's amazing. Well done, Lynn, for your fundraising endeavours. Unbelievable. Well done, my friend. Okay, let's crack on with the roundup then. So we're going to start off with solar activity. This is how the solar disk is looking on our side of this today from solarhound.net. Not a huge amount going on in terms of visible sunspots on the disk. However, it is depending on how much energy these sunspots are giving out. And actually, I can tell you that solar activity was yesterday at high levels and is expected to be at moderate levels over 3 days. So just because there's not a huge number of sunspots on the visible disk, the sunspots we have got are giving out, a lot of energy, and so yes, we have been at high levels with solar activity over the past day, and we'll be at moderate levels if forecast is correct over the next 3 days. Now we haven't got the solar tracker. Shrine hasn't been able to get that updated for us this time because there's not been an update where Shrine gets the information from, unfortunately. So because we're going to be, so this is like the New Year's Day roundup, but then we're going to be bringing back the Sunday roundups once a month. Probably the first one of those will be at the end of this month, will be at the end of January, and then we'll do, the rest of them at the end of each month, right way through to August. So Sunday roundups are coming back as well. Hopefully we'll be able to bring you the updated solar tracker in the Sunday roundup at the end of this month. It'll either be the end of this month or the beginning of February. See what time we've got. But we have got this from Rich. Hello, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to Shrine. Happy New Year to Rich. Thank you so much, my good friend Richard Shaw, for updating this for Spotless Days and the current Spotless stretch. It's updated to the end of year, so just to confirm that every day in 2023 did indeed have sunspots. There was a time we went for a very low level of activity, wasn't there, while doing winter updates. We was wondering whether we might just get a day that didn't have any sunspots, but that didn't happen, and then solar activity picked back up again. So overall, all 2023, as expected in this point of the solar cycle, every day has come out with sunspots there. Of course, in 2022, we didn't have one day, but didn't have any sunspots. Then we go back into solar minimum years of 2021, 2020, and 2019, and they have, a lot of days without sunspots, particularly 2019, which was a solar minimum year, 281 days without sunspots, was 77% of the year. Now, our comparable point in the solar cycle this year, 2024, is actually 2013. So our comparable year to this point where we are in the solar cycle from the last solar cycle going to be 2013. So what happened in 2013? So we started off in quite a lowish level of activity, actually. Daily sunspot numbers were relatively low. And then there was a real ramp up, a real pickup in the second half of the year, culminating in the solar maximum of solar cycle 24, which occurred in 2014. And 2025, of course, is expected to be a solar maximum year for this solar cycle. So next year, in 2025, the comparable year will be 2014. And that's when we're expecting the solar maximum of this solar cycle to take place. But anyway, you can see that in 2013, every day had sunspots in 2013. So again, for 2024, which will be appearing up here, next time you see this gear, for 2024, we will be expecting every day to have sunspots. If we get a spot this day, then we'll know something very strange is going on. Thank you so much, Richard, for updating that. Thank you so much for updating. Sunday gift, Rich. And as I say, hopefully we'll do the next Sunday roundup. When we bring the Sunday roundups back, we'll have the updated GavsWeatherVids solar activity tracker as well. Right, so we're going to move on to oceans data next. So this is how the oceans were looking when we signed off on winter updates, actually. So this is the last SST anomaly chart that we showed you, I think, on GavsWeatherVids. So this is from the 24th of November. We've got our 4 interest areas here, of course. We've got the ENSO region, we've got the Northern Pacific, we've got the Indian Ocean, and we've got the North Atlantic Ocean there. So let's have a look at the very latest. Here it is. And we can see with ENSO, El Nino in the equatorial Pacific Ocean. Again, the El Nino continues. It's still sitting there. Has become a little bit more central based. I think we're seeing some of the warmest anomalies from the eastern quarter pushing into central and central regions. However, it's not a classic Modoki, this. So I was a bit dubious about a Modoki. I mean, it's slightly Modoki in type, don't get me wrong, but it's not like a classic Modoki El Nino such as we had in 0910. It's just a very slight increasingly central base El Nino. But to be honest, I think it's more of a uniform El Nino, to be honest. Looking at that, it looks pretty uniform, doesn't it, across most parts of the ENSO region. So that could be one of the reasons why, particularly for North America, the winter so far has been generally very mild, because Modoki El Nino particularly favour colder winters in North America. They can also coincide with colder winters here, such as we had in 0910. Depends exactly how the northern blocking sets up. But this, I don't think that's a classic Modoki El Nino. In the Northern Pacific, well, things still continue to look a little bit negative PDO-wise, so it is a bit cooler through there, and to the south and the east of Hawaii as well. So we have got a bit of a negative PDO signature there. Again, probably not classic. So you would want really to see this area in particular turning a little bit colder than that to be a classic negative PDO signature, but it is less to some degree. And then over in the Indian Ocean, we're continuing to unravel the very positive phase of the IOD, Indian Ocean Dipole. So it remains very warm through here, but this area has warmed up as well. You remember it was quite in the early part of the autumn. This area here around Indonesia was very cold. That is warming up now. So the IOD is still, I think it's still a positive IOD, but it's reverting, closer to more of a neutral phase of the Indian Ocean dipole. And then in the North Atlantic, well, it looks very interesting. We again see very significantly above average sea surface temperatures here in the tropical and subtropical Atlantic. A little bit cooler through there, and then warm to South Green. So we are really quite close to a tripole in the Atlantic. You really need to see the cooler area going cooler than that, though, and more focused towards the eastern seaboard of America. So again, similar to like the Modoki thing, and similar to the PDO, we have, it's interesting what's happening in the Atlantic, but it's just not quite right. So it's all very frustrating from a teleconnection or oceans perspective, really, at the moment, and could be the reason that the winter, it's promising quite a lot, but it isn't sort of coming off yet, if you get what I mean. The hints are there and have been for this winter, right from the very start, but things just aren't coming together at the moment for this winter. So anyway, we're going to continue to monitor oceans data. The tropical subtropical area is very interesting because that remains significantly warmer than average. It shows no sign of cooling really at the moment. And of course we've got these cold waters lurking down here off the coast of Chile. And we'll be got to keep an eye on those, because if this cold area starts to expand out, and that will be the first hint that we're going to flip from El Nino to La Nina through the spring and the summer. So we could see this El Nino very quickly reversing into a La Nina when we get into the spring and the summer. And if that if we was to get a La Nina, and that was to combine with continued significantly above average sea surface temperatures here, then it really will be game on for a very active and extensive Atlantic tropical storm and hurricane season. Because when you've got a warm Atlantic Ocean in the subtropics combined with La Nina, then that's when you can get like the hyperactive hurricane season. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. Might even do a little forecast for this year's hurricane season. I haven't done one of those before, but I might do. I might issue a forecast from GavsWeatherVids for the hurricane season. How does that sound? Say around April, May time. We'll see. Solar Oscillation Index, which is an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state. It's looking at air pressures between Tahiti and Darwin in these two columns just here, and then coming out with an overall contribution. Looks like this. So we are losing some of the negativity of the Solar Oscillation Index. It did go very negative before Christmas, minus 30, minus 36, minus 27. So that tells us, but before and up to Christmas, the atmospheric state was very reflective of El Nino. Since then, we've actually gone a little bit positive, and on the 30th and the 31st of December, go to plus 10 and plus 12. So that's actually beginning to swing into more of a La Nina type state. That will only be temporary because we're still well and truly in El Nino. But as we go into the spring, we'll be looking for increasingly positive numbers to maybe start appearing. And again, if that combines with an upwelling of cold average sea surface temperatures up here off the coast of Chile, then that could be a signal that La Nina is on its way for the summer. This is the QBO, so this is from NASA. So the brown, sandy brown area is the last westerly QBO phase. The blue-green area is the current easterly QBO phase just here, descending from the stratosphere down into the troposphere. So you can see we remain well and truly. The troposphere, of course, is like 30 to 50 HPA along that line just there. So you can see that we are well and truly in a proper classic easterly QBO phase. We have got the first hints of the next westerly QBO phase, lurking up here at the very top of the atmosphere at 10 HPA in the stratosphere. That will not be descending mode before the end of winter. It will probably start descending. I would think it starts descending late in the summer into the earlier part of yours. So around August, September, I would imagine we'll start seeing that sandy brown area begin to move down into the troposphere. And the winter of 2024-25, if everything works correctly, winter 2024-25 should be a developing westerly QBO winter, I think. We have got the QBO number in from NOAA for November, so that came out at minus 19.80, very strong ECQBO phase, and December's number will be placed just there within the next couple of days, and then we'll be down here for 2024. So, of course, we start 2023 with a westerly, easterly QBO phase. It reverts to from west to east in the summer, and since then been strengthening that easterly QBO phase through the autumn and into the winter. A strong, mature easterly QBO winter for 2023-24. The reason we look at that is that the ECQBO can sometimes combine with an increased chance of blocking. So it's reflecting the strength of the zone of westerlies, really, in the northern hemisphere. So when you're in a westerly QBO phase, you strengthen the zone of westerlies. When you're in an ECQBO phase, you weaken the zone of westerlies. So an ECQBO phase can combine with an increased chance of a colder winter sometime, not all of the time, though. Right, Eurasian snow cover. You haven't seen this since we started off on winter updates either. Not doing very well, actually, for snow covering to Europe. I mean, we have got snow over where you expect to get it, you know, over the Alps, over the mountainous regions. But really, the main snow line has actually retreated back to the west of Russia. We're doing quite well, though, in Nordic regions. So it's quite an unusual winter so far, in that most parts of Europe, and the UK, of course, is included in this, have had a mild winter so far, or mild December anyway. But Scandinavia and Nordic regions have had really quite a cold winter, and may well be going to get even colder still over the next week or two. But that cold has always been kept locked in. Never been able to push any further south, than Norway, Sweden, and Finland. So again, we'll keep monitoring that. We'll see whether we can advance some of this snow into Europe over the next few weeks. Arctic Oscillation, a good bit, isn't it? Quite good. Yeah, this is what we do in the winter updates, everybody. If you haven't watched winter updates, then, well, they're finished now, but there will be another season of winter updates going for 2024-25, starting at the beginning of September. It'll be coming around before you know it, everyone. but this is what we do in the winter update show, but more in depth, because I am rushing this a little bit. It's got 10 to 14 days to combine with this roundup. So, Arctic Oscillation Observed and Forecast, black line shows where we've been with the AA, red lines at the end, the GFS ensembles and forecasting the Arctic Oscillation to go. So it went very negative with the AO there at the beginning of the winter. That's where I had that cold, freezing weather around the start of December. So very negative AO there. Then it's been all the way up into towards the Christmas period. Went very, very positive with the Arctic Oscillation. Since then, we've come back down. We're currently negative with the AO as we go into January. GFS ensembles, which is the red lines at the end, predicting that the AO will stay quite close to neutral, really. So it's going to come up from its current negative position to be weekly negative, staying weekly negative, and then possibly going weekly positive by mid-January. Not doing anything overly dramatic either way, though, so not deviating all that far from from neutral. So when the Arctic Oscillation is in it's an index that's reflecting out where it stays, doesn't drive anything in its own terms, just tells what the Atlas is doing. So when the AO is in a negative state, we've got blocking, we've got high pressure at the Arctic over the pole, and that's the route pushing cold air out of the pole and down into the mid-latitude. So as we're negative with the AO, there must be an appreciable level of blocking going on. But obviously we're not at the moment seeing that blocking in a position to push the cold air out into our part of Europe and the Northern Hemisphere. Right, NAO, looking like this. Again, same idea, the black line shows where we've been with the North Atlantic Oscillation, red lines of airwave GFS ensembles are forecasting the NAO to go. So we have the NAO also in a strongly negative state at the beginning of the winter, so that's the reason it was so cold as we started this winter. But after that, the NAO came back up into a positive state. We are currently neutral with the North Atlantic Oscillation and predicted to go negative as we go through the first half of January. So that's quite interesting. When you have a negative NAO, again, it's just reflecting the aspect setup. So when you have a negative NAO, well, when you have a positive NAO, you've got low pressure around Iceland and high pressure through the Azores. So that's like the default setup, and that brings western wind, particularly if it's combined with a positive AO. When you've got a negative NAO, then you will either weaken the Icelandic low and the Azores high, or you sometimes replace it with high pressure around Iceland and low pressure around the Azores. And when the NAO goes as negative as that would be a sign, really, but you're getting high pressure around Iceland and low pressure into the Azores. So that can be a route to getting colder weather as well, particularly if it's combined with a negative AO. So as we've got the AO close to neutral, not doing anything particularly dramatic, the NAO going negative, this could be a sign for colder weather on the way into the first half of January. Okay, Central England temperature hasn't updated on this page, I don't think, for December, but I did have a look at the background page. This is the table going all the way back 1659. We have indeed had an update, so I can tell you that the CT for December came out at 7.0. So we did indeed hang on to 7 degrees for December CT, and look at this, the year as a whole came out at 11.1. Again, that is equal to last year. I thought that'd be a little bit under that I thought that would be either 10.9 or 11.0, but actually it has come out 11.1. So 2023 is equal warmest year on record with 2022. 2 years back to back at 11 degrees. We did get to 11 degrees, I think, did we do that in 2014? Yeah, 2014, 11.0. That was the previous warmest year. Then last year beat that by 0.1 of a degree. We've equalled it again for 2023. So these 11 Celsius years are beginning to appear a little bit more frequently now within the CT index. It's been a long time since we had a 9 Celsius year. We have to go all the way back to 2013 for that. 9.6, and then 2012, 9.8. And the last time I had an 8 Celsius CT year, very cold year, was in 2010. That was a real anomaly. But most of the years around this century so far, since since 2000, have been in the tens. And now we are seeing a few more of these 11 Celsius years appearing, telling us that the warming trend is continuing to gather pace there. We'll see what happens in 2024. Will we have another 11 Celsius CT year? Will it be a cooler year? Will it be an even warmer year? We shall find out, of course. We'll keep you posted at Gavs or WeatherVids. Right, let's try and do a bit of forecasting then. So we're going to have a look at the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. I thought we'd have a look at Northampton today. Red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Northampton. We're starting off above average again as another area of low pressure sweeping through tonight and tomorrow, bringing out another big warm sector with it and a lot of heavy rain. After that, we've got a cooling trend taking us from the first week into the second week of January, going colder than average there with the upper air temperatures, and then into second week of January from around here onwards we get a lot of scatter. So we've got mild ensemble members up here, we have got some cold, even some very cold ensemble members down there. Overall the ensemble mean, which is the white line, is hovering a little bit under the 30-year average, so favouring a continuation of cooler than average or cold average temperatures really up to the middle part of January. But as I say, there is a lot of scatter, so I'm not sure how seriously we can take the position of the ensemble mean there. Now, obviously, it's going to be interesting to see how this works out for the first half of January. Will we get some quite cold weather or not? Precipitation-wise, lots of wet weather to come over the next 2 or 3 days, but then we have a drying trend from the first week into the second week of January, possibly a bit more unsettled through the middle and into the second half of the month, though. How's Snow Road looking for Beamer Towers? Let's have a look. Oh, not much going on there. Is there? Not much going on, certainly over the next week, anyway. First week of January, not much happening. A few snow spikes into the second week of the month, but doesn't look overly encouraging for snow here, I have to say. I suspect further north it would be rather more encouraging. Right, okay, temperature anomalies on the 1st of the 9th of January, coming out a little bit above average for England, Wales, near north, further north. Again, look how cold it is, though, across those Nordic regions and, Scandinavia, Nordic regions, into the northwest of Russia, extremely cold through there, but still being kept locked in, really, not able to get any further southwards than like central Sweden. And Denmark, Scandinavia, but Denmark is above average, as is southern parts of Sweden there. I mean, you go anywhere further south of that, it just looks really mild, doesn't it? And actually, us, for the UK and Ireland, we are one of the cooler places, closer to average anyway, places in Europe, away from the far north. And precipitation anomalies from the first 9th of January, about average to slightly above for England, Wales and Ireland, but driving average for Scotland. The latest middle of that from UrbanNorthSchool.net showed that the next area of low pressure is in the Atlantic and it's on its way in. So if you're off out and about this evening, I expect most people will be staying in this evening after revelling last night. But those that are off out and about this evening, take your waterproofs. It's going to be another wet one. Here we go then with chart data. This time the latest UK Met Euro run is looking big night on Thursday. Low pressure well and truly in control of the weather and carrying on into the end of week as well. The low pressure then clear off into the continent by Sunday. High pressure then gets going around Iceland. That's what I'm talking about with the negative area. We've got high pressure around Iceland, low pressure down towards the Azores, the upshot on the NEO scale will be a negative NEO. And that starts to bring the wind into a colder easterly. UK Met looks really quite impressive, I have to say, for that high pressure around Iceland by the beginning of next week. That's Monday the 8th of January, bringing in a proper northeasterly wind then. That could well be bringing snow showers into east and southeastern parts of the country with this high pressure centred close to Iceland. Really quite an interesting UK Met to start us off. Icon, again, with low pressure dominating the weather on Thursday, and then we take that low pressure away to the south and the east into the weekend. But look how much further south the high pressure is over the weekend to start next week. So instead of like UK Met, which has it up near Iceland, high pressure is actually over top of the coast. That is a colder scenario, but nowhere near as cold as the UK Met because it's not bringing in as much of the northeasterly. However, it is dry and colder, and there will be overnight frost coming through with that. And then we go through KMA, and again, starting off very unsettled low pressure in control, then high pressure building to the north, going towards Scandinavia with the KMA. So that's a little bit more like what the UK Met is doing, although high pressure is not as far north as Iceland, but it is sort of going to Scandinavia. So that's colder anyway than Icon, and could well bring some snow showers into southern and southeastern parts of the country there over next weekend. However, very quickly the high pressure sinks down over top of the country, so that just implies a extended spread of the groups of two, some plenty of frost and fog there as we're going through the weekend and on into the beginning of next week. Possibly the hint of another northerly setting up, though, into towards the middle of January. That gets us to the 13th of about 288 hours. And the high pressure looks like it's going into retrograde. Looks like going into retrograde and pulling in another push of northerly winds. So quite interesting on the KMA. The GFS midnight run, again, with low pressure dominating weather through to the end of week, then high pressure building in its wake over the weekend. Again, nowhere near as far north as UK Met, that high pressure, so actually there's low pressure around Iceland with the GFS midnight run just here. So consequently, the high pressure is much further southwards. We do bring in colder air into that area of high pressure mode, so a shift to frost and fog, I think, over the weekend. And then keep that high pressure sitting over the country into next week. So much drier. This is probably the main change, rather than temperature. The main notable change is probably going to be turning much drier through the first half of January compared to the deluge December that we've had. And I'll be expecting frost and fog with that area of high pressure, at least initially. By this point, 300 hours, Saturday 13th of January, the high pressure's more out to our west. We're bringing probably quite cloudy conditions and milder temperatures from the Atlantic around the top of that high pressure. Now, initially starting off as a frost and fog high pressure, then becoming, anticyclonic gloom, I would imagine there. We've got the GFS 6Z, again, with low pressure in control of the weather through the end of the week, then into the weekend. High pressure takes over a bit further north with the high pressure on the GFS 6Z at weekend, brings in more of an easterly flow across England and Wales. Again, that could bring wintry showers, maybe some snow showers into those east and southeastern regions. But by the beginning of next week, the high pressure sinks down over country, cutting off the easterly, but will still be cold, and that area of high pressure, there will be frost and fog with that as well. The high pressure then sticking around the country as we go into the extended. So this is a big change here compared to what we've had through this winter so far with all of the low pressure in the extensive. This is a big shift to high pressure and much drier conditions, irrespective of what happens with the temperature. I suspect initially we'll get frost and fog and then probably get a lot of anticyclonic gloom. If you've enjoyed this sunny round, we're coming towards the end of it now. If you enjoyed this sunny roundup, please you like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. It's been another New Year's Day epic, over half an hour. I think we'll be pushing 40 minutes with this by the end. So thank you so much, everybody. Ready to put on around 30 subscribers now to get to 17.6k. So if you could give us a sub and tell your friends and family to subscribe, it would be incredible. And we will thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Right, GM, again, with low pressure dominating the weather through the end of week, then a change over the weekend as high pressure takes over again, nowhere near as far north with the high pressure boat as the UK Met. Now the UK Met looks isolating, getting that high pressure as far north as Iceland. Most of these bars have the high pressure centering over us at weekend into next week, which will be colder. It will deliver frost and fog, I would imagine, but it's not going to bring like properly cold east northeast winds and snow showers. That's how we end up with the GM. Again, the high pressure just in me sensing most of the cold continuing across the far north and northeast Europe with that area of low pressure. And then we've got the ECM doing that again with low pressure dominating the weather through through the through to the end of the week. Next weekend, high pressure takes over, not as far north as Iceland, but a little bit further north, and some of the model output has it, brings in more of an east northeasterly flow into the south anyway, but could deliver a few wintry showers into southern and southeastern parts of the country. And the high pressure sticks around the country all the way up to daytime, I imagine bringing frost and fog, plenty of the gruesome twosome there maybe next week. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from Meteo.com. Here comes the next deluge coming in tonight, and there'll be more heavy rain through tomorrow, particularly focused on England and Wales as well. However, when that gets out of the way, then we're into a showering scenario for the rest of the week, possibly merging into long spells of rain as well. But the trend by the weekend is to drier weather. So look at this. By next weekend, we're bringing in more of a northeasterly flow, wintry showers arriving on the east coast, and it's only quite cold with that with those east winds as well. The trend is clearly towards drier weather. Again, wintry shower towards those eastern, southeastern regions, but most places dry under the high pressure, and I think there would be quite a bit of frost with that as well. These are the up summer table within the ECM ensembles today. 4-day 10 gets us to the 11th of January. From the Icelandic Met Office, 26 members of the ECM ensembles, including the control and the operation run with high pressure over and to west northwest of the country. So that brings the wind in from a chilly east northeasterly direction, mostly dry but chilly with that. Got 13 with high pressure a little bit further northwards and northwestwards there. Low pressure over France allowed perhaps for a rather strengthened easterly flow. So if anything, that might be a bit colder and might deliver some wintry showers into the south and southeast. And then we've got 12 again with high pressure above average heights just around west and northwest, low pressure to east and northeast. We're on the periphery of a big cold blast there, but I suppose it's quite chilly at the very least, could be quite cold. Again, all options seem to be bringing the wind in from like a northerly type direction or northeasterly type direction, which is going to be quite a chilly wind direction at this time of year. In 2 weeks' time is the options that we've got. It will get us to the 16th of January, 27 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure blocking towards Greenland, but perhaps a little bit more toward the Canadian side of Greenland, low pressure centering over to the east of the country. Now that could be really very cold and wintry, but because the high pressure, because the block is more toward the Canadian side of Greenland, we could also bring up something a little bit less cold or milder into the south. Now that's quite an interesting scenario anyway. It would only take a very subtle adjustment at the high pressure centred more there rather than towards Canada to be really cold and wintry. And then we've got 24 here, just keeping the high pressure going really. Again, centre to our north and northwest would be quite chilly with that, frost and fog, that sort of thing, and mainly dry. CFSB2, so the options look quite interesting within the ECM ensembles, I have to say. And actually, let's quickly, as we're doing a roundup, why don't we quickly go back, have a look at the ECM ensemble graph, which I did in a video a couple of days ago, and people thought, that's quite interesting. So this is how the graph looks for the ECM ensembles. A more pronounced colder spell occurring next week. That's because the ECM has that high pressure further northwards next weekend, I should mean, to the beginning of the following week. After that, again, similar to the GFS ensembles, really a lot of scatter. But I think overall the ECM ensembles are looking colder, more convincingly colder anyway, than the GFS ensembles are. Right, okay, CFSB2 finally, and then we're done to meet a 500 millibar height anomalies breakdown in week periods. The first week period takes first 7th of January, but next week will be very unsettled with low pressure in control. Notice heights rising though up towards Greenland, and then we go through to week 2, which looks colder. This is the 8th to 14th of January. High pressure then blocking between Scotland and Iceland. Low pressure is away to the east. So the real cold, the brutal cold, is across the far northeast of Europe and into the northwestern Russia. However, because of the position of high pressure, we are bringing some quite cold air into that ridge. So frost, fog, and maybe a few wintry showers in the south and southeast. But what happens into week 3, the high collapses, That's the 15th, 21st of January. High pressure collapsing goes down to France and the Mediterranean and up this southwesterly again. So much milder there into the middle part of January. And then we're as flat as a pancake into week 4. It's the 22nd, 28th of January, and lots of low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, and in comes those mild west to southwesterly winds. So, you know, perhaps some quite chilly weather for the first half of January, and then we're back to mild weather second half of the month. We shall see. Right, we're done. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our vids. And don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Let's say 30 subscribers will get us to 17.6k. So please give us a sub, tell your friends, and thank you, subscribe. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And have I made it through a video without a cough? I think I might have done. New year, and we're on the finally, maybe from the cold. Anyway, thank you so much everyone for watching. Please check out Lynn's Just Giving page as well. We started off with that at the beginning of the video. So if you want to give a donation to lovely Lynn's charity, then please check that out. Link is in the description. Terry Scoley's January forecast will be coming up tonight around 7, half 7, something like that. And then tomorrow we're going to have the 6 AM UK weather forecast. The extended European outlook will be back as well as a 10 to 14 dayer. So keep checking back to the channel for more. For this New Year's Day roundup, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your New Year's Day, and bye for now.